5 segundos, gente. Atención, empieza.
Hi, I'm Jonathan Rogers,
Johnny.
Game Director on Path of Exile 2,
Johnny.
and welcome to GGG Live.
Welcome.
Today we're going to show you an exclusive reveal for what's coming next for Path of Exile 2.
Contame,
Twitch drops
contame.
are enabled on today's live
Ya
stream,
sabemos,
so you'll be
ya
able to
sabemos,
claim
ya
your
vimos
Verdant
en
Wilds dodge roll effect by following the instructions
Nadie
below.
le interesa eso. Vamos al
Now
juego.
today it's finally time to show off a new class that we know everyone in the community's been waiting for. So let's roll the trailer for Path of Exile 2, The Last of the Druids.
Se viene, gente, se viene. Teaser. Ah.
Well, what have we got here then?
You lost, fella?
Hey, we're talking to you.
Cine, gente.
I asked you a question.
Cine, po. Oh, wey. Ah, wey. Como que le van pegando y van activando su instinto animal,
He's
¿no?
lost his bloody mind.
Tiene que hacer una película, este hijo de puta, la concha de su madre. Tiene que hacer una película, culiao. Mira lo que es, hermano. Qué bueno que está el león, culiao. ¡En dragón! ¿Qué? ¡Te puedes convertir en dragón, culiao! ¡No! ¡Mira lo que es eso, mono! ¡Mira lo que está el dragón, culiao! ¡Oh, shit! ¡No, culiao! ¡Mira el dragón, hermano, por Dios! Login, gente, vamos todo dragón, culiao. Vamos todo dragón, hermano, por Dios.
I will find you.
Por Dios, hermano. Mira lo que dice dragón, mono. Oh.
Now as you can see,
Hijo
the
de
druid
puta,
is a
que soy,
shape-shifting
Johnny.
elemental spellcaster. After his fellow druids were destroyed by the king in the mists,
Viejo, pensé en
the
Draenei
druid lost his
literal,
humanity in
hermano,
the
fue lo
forests of
primero que se me vino
Ogden, where he
en la
wandered
cabeza,
for
Game of
years as a
Thrones.
beast. Now, finally
Dios.
reawakened, he's determined to find his lost wife
Me quiero
and
llamar
regain his
Jon Snow en la
humanity.
liga que viene, sí o sí.
The druid has been one of the hardest classes for us to design.
No te
As
trabes,
well
hijo
as
de
having
puta.
human spells, he has 3 animal forms, and we wanted to make sure that there were interesting combos between all of them. The druid is our first hybrid strength and intelligence class. That means he needs to have the ability to use spells
Clase
and attacks.
inteligente.
As a human, the
Usa
druid
spells y
typically uses
ataques.
magical staves to harness the powers of the earth and the natural world.
Shape and filth.
One of the first skills you will learn is the ability to create small volcanoes from the earth. This skill spits out balls of magma at your enemies, and will continue to do so
Mirá,
for
la
some
primera
time.
habilidad que tienes como Rolling
While the
Magma.
volcano is active,
Deja un
turn into an
volcán, no
animal
como
and wade into
crematorio.
melee range. Many of the skills you use as a human last for a significant period of time,
Esa es la
giving you a
primera
good
skill que
chance
te
to
da.
turn into an animal and rage out. But how do you turn into an animal, you may ask? Well, the answer is a new weapon type that druids use, animal talismans. When you equip an animal talisman, you can choose which animal form you would like the talisman to represent. Depending on what you choose, you'll be given that animal's basic attack as a new skill to equip. For a bear, that's Maul. To turn into a bear, simply use the skill. Your character will instantly transform into a bear and attack.
No tiene caja de espíritu de
If you want to change
transformación,
back to a human, just cast a spell. You will instantly swap back and cast.
Buenísimo eso, no tiene
We wanted
caja
to
de
make
espíritu.
sure that swapping between forms was seamless and immediate. Changing forms should be something that you do without even thinking about it all the time in battle.
No tiene cooldown entre
In order to
transformación.
allow for hybrid melee and caster gameplay, most of the skills you use in your human form last for some time and aid your animal skills in some way.
Muy divertido, culea, muy
The
divertido. ese
volcano
juego.
we used earlier will emit more molten balls whenever you hit it with a slam, making it perfect for use with your
Dale,
bear form's
Boli,
furious
dale.
slam.
Dale, boli.
While in bear form, many of your abilities use rage. There are a lot of ways to generate rage, but the easiest one is simply smash
La
your enemies with maul.
combinación de ataques y habilidades que va a haber, culeado.
Once you see the runes on your back glowing, it means you have enough rage to do a much more devastating version of your furious slam.
Es como que funciona con rage.
Your bear form can also go on a rampage, stomping the ground as you demolish your foes.
Rampage.
The more rage you have, the longer the rampage lasts. And
Vos
doing
vas
it over a
cargando
volcano makes it
rage.
even better.
Y mientras más rage, cuando tenés rage puedes activar Rampage. Que mientras más rage tengas, más va a durar el efecto de Rampage.
As you consume rage, your bear form will generate endurance charges, and these can be used with skills like Ferocious Roar. Ferocious Roar is a war cry that empowers your subsequent attacks to break your opponent's armor. The more endurance charges you have when you use it, the more empowered attacks you will gain. But Ferocious Roar has another special feature too. It's a meta gem that allows you to socket
Infernal
any
Cry.
warcry gem from another class into it, giving you the ability to use these skills as a bear. Use the Warrior's Infernal Cry skill to make your enemies explode.
Puedo usarla para hacer No, lo puede hacer explotar.
Or use
culero.
Seismic Cry to stun your enemies and double up the number of slams you do.
Muy bueno.
You can even use it with Ancestral
La
Call,
concha de
a
tu
skill that
madre.
turns you into the fire god Khal.
Ancestral Call,
Ever wondered what the Karui god of war
no.
would look like if he was a bear? Well, wait no longer. Finally, build up enough rage and you can use one of the bear's ultimate abilities, Walking Calamity. This skill summons a storm of fire around you for some time, while generating even more rage to power your other abilities. The true bear apocalypse.
Claro, mientras más rage
Now, the
tenés,
bear is known for being a slower
más se
and more lumbering
potencian tus
animal,
habilidades,
with slower
básicamente.
attacks and heavy slams. But what if you want to turn into something a little more nimble? Well, let's check out the second animal form for the druid, wolf form.
el lobo.
For the wolf form, we wanted to go fast and furious. Even just the wolf's basic attack will leap
Claro.
forward and rake his
El oso es
foes.
para movimientos
After
lentos y
attacking, the
slams.
wolf stands up on two legs.
El
But
lobo
after running for
va
a
a
short
velocidad.
time, he goes back on all fours, allowing to move more quickly between packs of enemies. The wolf has a lot of cold attacks based on his association with the moon, and the first of these is Lunar Assault. It's great for freezing your enemies in place.
El lobo
After
se
they're
centra
frozen,
más en
use
el
your
cold
basic
damage.
rake attack to knock shards of ice off your enemies, which land on the ground nearby and explode. If you want to get into battle quickly, you can use your pounce attack. This skill leaps at a target and applies a mark to them. Killing the marked enemy will summon a wolf minion to your side, allowing them to fight with you.
Tiene una habilidad de
Mark and
salto
kill
que
as many
te
enemies as you
saltas
can
al
with a
enemigo, le dejas
sizable
una
pack.
marca y cuando matas
While
al
an enemy
enemigo
is
marcado,
marked, your
invocas
wolves
un
will
lobo aliado.
prioritize that target and do more damage the more wolves you have.
Mientras
So make
más
sure you
daño,
keep your
más
pack
lobo
strong.
puedes invocar.
Now, one problem you might run into is your wolf pack dying in boss fights. You often don't have any enemies that you can mark and kill in order to regenerate your pack. To deal with this problem, you can use Cross Slash. Cross Slash jumps backwards and does a vicious double slash. Any marks on your target explode and triggers their abilities. This allows you to pounce to
Dice
mark
que
an enemy
como
and then summon a wolf even without
En
killing it.
boss fight no tenés
Cross
para
Slash
marcar
also has
enemigos,
another
invocar
feature.
lobitos. Tenés
Remember
otra
those
habilidad
ice
que
fragments
marca
from before?
voces e invoca los
Well, Cross
lobitos.
Slash will propel
Cross
any
Slash,
ice shards on the
se
ground
llama.
towards its central target. First, freeze your enemies with Lunar Assault. Then rake them to create as many ice fragments as you can. Then follow
Bien,
up with
bien
Cross
que
Slash
buscaron
to
una
generate a
solución
field of
para
icy
eso, porque
explosions to obliterate your enemies.
En PoE 1 ese es un problema en muchos build de minions. Que se te mueran los
If
minions.
they're still alive after that, your pack of wolves can finish them off. Just like with the bear's raw skill earlier that allows you to use skills from other classes, Pounce is also a meta gem that you can socket mark skills from other classes into.
Ojo, marcas.
So for example, you might want to try adding Freezing Mark from the Monk to Pounce. After pouncing at an enemy, Cross Slash to explode the mark
Oh,
and
está
gain
muy
extra
buena esa
cold damage for a
combinación
time.
de skills. Ya, le podés dejar dos marcas de
The
Duna.
wolf has many other ways to go all in on cold though. Using the Arctic Howl Warcry will allow you to add cold damage and chilled ground to any slam, while buffing your pack of wolves as well. You can also use it to freeze enemies that are close to being frozen, making it much faster to use your other combos. Finally, the wolf also has the
Como
ability to
Dios
call
se
down the
vos,
power of the
culiao.
moon to transform into an Arctic werewolf with Lunar Blessing. In this form, you move and attack more quickly and deal extra cold damage.
Puedes
Consuming rage
swapear de
will
una
extend the
transformación
duration
a
of
la
your
otra.
Arctic wolf form, so you could try a hybrid bear and wolf build if you want to utilize the skill to its full effect.
Mira lo fácil que te hace este boss de
Alright,
mierda con este build.
let's talk about the third form available to the druid, and I think it's a cool one. The Wyvern.
¡Oh,
The
el
Wyvern has a number
Wyvern!
of long-range
¡Ay,
breath
me encanta,
abilities.
culiao!
But that doesn't mean you can't get into
Daenerys.
melee range when you want to. The basic attack of the Wyvern is Rend. Jump forward into combat and slash your enemies with your lethal talons. If they're close to being stunned, you can blow them off balance with a blast from your wings, causing an explosion of damage.
Oh.
After the battle, though, it's time to feed. Devour the corpses of monsters to create power charges. And this is when the Wyvern's abilities really come
Comer
to life.
enemigos te da power charges.
When using Rend, you can consume a power charge to charge up your wings with lightning. Not only does this do a
Es de
bunch of
lightning,
damage,
es de
but it
lightning,
allows
el
you to
trazo de
turn this
lightning.
melee skill into a much
El
larger
trazo
AoE
de
attack.
lightning. Login, gente, login, Julio.
Once your wings are charged, your wing blast will also do lightning explosions for even more damage. If your enemies are close to death, no need to wait for them to actually die. When you see this blue marker, just devour them alive. Fresh meat is much tastier after all. Alright, so those are some melee options, but how about range? Well, you wouldn't be much of a dragon if you couldn't breathe fire after all. Rolling magma is the first of the Wyvern's breath
Otra de
attacks.
rolling magma.
Spit balls of fire that bounce along the ground.
Ah, no,
These
ahora el
balls will
volcán.
trigger volcanoes as well, so it's a good idea to cast one as a human right before you start spitting. But that's not all you can spit. You have something a little nastier in that gullet of yours. Spitting a barrage of
Ese
oil at
bien
your
rolling
enemies
magma
will
en el
cover them in
juego,
a viscous sludge that makes them easier to ignite.
Ah, mira. Es
If you have
como
power
que
charges,
tiras
though,
nafta en el
plant your wings
piso y
on the
los
ground
prende
and
fuego,
vomit a barrage
Julia.
of lightning-infused projectiles. The more power charges you have, the longer you can do this for. But make sure you keep your foes at range. You're vulnerable to melee attacks while channeling this skill. In order to help with that, let's take a quick diversion back to some of your human abilities. As a druid of Scoth, you have the ability to harness the power of
Yeah.
nature to create entangling vines to slow down your enemies. Another of nature's punishments is the
Poder
thunderstorm.
combinar cosas
Creating one of these will create periodic strikes of lightning from the
entre
sky.
formas
It
animales
will
y
also
el
make your
humano.
enemies wet. Why is that useful? Well, of course, things that are wet are easier to shock.
¡Mira!
Use it with lightning
Los
damage from your
puede
wyvern
mojar
form to
para que
enhance
sea
your
más
damage.
fácil electrocutarlos,
Making
Julia.
things wet also makes them easier to freeze, so it works nicely with your wolf form as well.
Shit, man.
And you know what else likes water?
Dios.
Plants. Water your plants to give them various
Mira,
extra abilities.
los agarrás,
Use
los
lightning storm with
mojás,
entangle to make them last
los
longer.
electrocutás.
Attach more vines to each
Me
enemy, slowing
electrocutaste,
them through.
Carlito.
Summon thrashing vines to slam at your enemies for a time.
Julia.
Any that are created in water will be larger and deal more damage. Now then, with our enemies sufficiently
Esto con
subdued
un
with our
poco de
plants,
práctica y con
time to
una
really
build
lay into them
bien
with our
hecha, tiene que
lightning-infused
ser una
barrage.
locura, Julia. Tiene que ser insano, Julia.
Now, this last wyvern
No,
ability
no,
is just
estoy
ridiculous,
enamorado,
but we
estoy
felt like we had to
enamorado
do
de
it.
shouting.
Use flame breath to take to the skies and rain down a stream of fire on your enemies.
Hay
You have
dragón,
wings, so we have to take
Juliao,
full
hay
advantage of them
dragón,
after all.
hermano, mira lo que
So
es
fly
eso,
around
mira lo
and
que
burn
es
it.
eso. Básicamente tenés un oso que se dedica a slams y golpes lentos y ser tanque,
Now,
un
there are a few
lobo
other skills we didn't cover,
que
but
se
there's one in
dedica a daño
particular that I think
cold,
will open up a lot of builds.
congela,
Spell
invoca mini
totems.
lobitos y es
Spell
rápido.
totems are meta gems that
Y
let
el
you create a
dragón
totem that will
que
automatically cast any
te
spell in the
moja,
game
te
for a time.
electrocuta,
In order to create one, you will need to
inmoviliza,
spend 3 endurance or 3 power
te
charges.
tira nafta, te
You could
prende
use them to
fuego.
throw fireballs, summon comets, or shower the
Claro,
area
el
in
dragón
light.
te roto,
Really,
culiao,
the
el
options are
dragón te
kind of
roto.
endless.
Sacas la
Your
tula,
bear
lo
form can
mojas
easily
y-
generate endurance charges by consuming rage, and your wyvern form can easily create power charges by eating corpses. So it's pretty easy for the druid to get the charges needed. But they're also
que-
available from quite a few other places as well.
Es
I'm
que,
sure we'll be seeing a lot of different spellcaster classes thinking about how best to take advantage of these.
es que no va a haber una...
Now, of course, along with the new
Una
class comes a
transformación
bunch
que
of
se
new
use más que
support
la otra.
gems. We've added over 30 new supports throughout the game.
Porque puedes swapear
But I'll show
entre
you a
todas
few
las,
of the
entre
cool
las
ones here.
transformaciones sin cooldown.
Fan the Flames can be added to
Incluso
any
con el
wind skill
humano.
to spread fire from one
Entonces estoy
ignited
seguro que van
enemy
a
to
haber
other
combinaciones
enemies
de
behind.
varias. Ponele,
It's great for the
entras con el
wyvern's
lobo
wind
que tiene el
blast.
salto,
We can also use
te
it on many
transformas
other
en
classes with
el
wind
oso,
skills,
metes
like the
slam,
twisters on the
te
huntress,
transformas en el
or the
dragón,
monks staggering
te haces
palm
para
projectiles.
atrás y empezás a tirar fuego. Va a haber combinación de todo. No, va a
Accelerated
estar
growth
insano,
causes
boludo,
extra
va a estar
explosive
insano,
plants to erupt from the ground whenever you grow plants with rain.
Va a estar buenísimo, boludo. Eso va a ser muy divertido.
And Advancing
boludo.
Storm changes storm skills like your Thunderstorm or Tornado to move across the
Qué
battlefield.
locura el trabajo
It's
que
great
han
for watering
hecho,
plants
hermano.
en
Hay que
mass.
sacarse el sombrero, culiao.
Or to turn
Hay que
tornadoes into a
ponerse
real
el
disaster
pie,
by sucking
boludo.
up multiple
Qué
ground effects as
laburazo
they travel along.
mandaron, culiao. Mirá lo que es esto, hermano.
And the sorceress
Impensable,
might like to
culiao,
use it with Firestorm as
impensable.
well.
Qué laburazo, culiao.
Echoing Cry causes your Warcry skills to echo. They will repeat a couple more times with a delay after you use them, giving you more
El día
empowered
que Puedo
attacks.
tenga
Use it for the
mucho
druid's animal
contenido
form
con
war
todas
cries,
estas cosas,
or on the
culiao.
warrior for a nice power boost.
Era una locura, man.
Grounding shocks causes monsters you shock to turn into living Tesla coils, arcing lightning to nearby enemies. You could use it with your empowered wings for an extra damage boost,
Mira cómo se prende radio
but
el
it's also
dragón,
great with any
culiao.
other shocking skill.
Nah, yo me da
Try it out with
Daenerys,
Lightning
culiao.
Spear. It obviously
¿Quieres
needed more AoE clear. There's a whole pile more, but we'll leave those for you to discover. Now with a new class comes new ascendancy classes. The Druid will have two options for now, with a third being released later. The first class is the Shaman.
Shaman.
The Shaman channels nature's elemental fury and can harness rage as a spellcaster, unifying his animalistic and magical tendencies. By allocating Druidic Champion, you gain spell damage the angrier you are, and with Furious Wellspring, you generate rage continuously and can spend it to empower your spells. With the knowledge of the Asmerian Magi, the Shaman can harness untapped power from runes and idols. After allocating Wisdom of the Magi, you will notice that all runes and idols have extra mods only available to the Shaman. These new mods unlock countless new possibilities for enhancing your build. You can also allocate Bringer of the Apocalypse, allowing you to become a walking natural disaster. After dealing enough elemental damage, storms of all elements rain around you, destroying all who would face nature's fury. There are other abilities for the Shaman, but I'll just show a few from each class for now.
Qué bien se lo ve el Shaman.
The other Druid ascendancy is the Oracle. The Oracle perfected the power of foresight and utilizes this in combat to gain
No
massive
entendí el
advantage.
nombre de esta. Nah, está
When
increíble.
taking
este
Fateful
personaje,
Vision, you'll
culiao,
see visions of your future self using
culiao,
specific
me
skills.
encanta.
If you decide to follow this path by using the skill
Hay que
yourself,
sacarse el
it will do
sombrero y
significantly more
felicitar a los
damage.
hijos de puta esto, boludo.
And with
Sí, debe estar
converging
todo el mundo,
paths,
tremendo.
at a critical moment in battle when a monster is vulnerable to freeze, stun, or electrocution,
Esta
the
clase
Oracle can use
con
Moment of
mucha
Vulnerability
densidad de
to see a
mapas.
vision of the
No.
enemy's future, and then merge it with the current timeline, allowing him to deal damage to both.
Haces una
And
copia
one
de
of my
vos.
favorites,
No,
when you
¿qué?
first become an Oracle, you'll notice over 130 new extra passives appear in the Druid section of the tree. By allocating the Unseen Path, you use your power of foresight to learn from alternate futures and gain skills that would otherwise be unavailable to you. For example, self-sacrificing allows you to be able to summon more minions by reducing the spirit costs, with the trade-off of making your reservation skills cost more spirit. Or Corruption Endures, which allows oracles to have a small chance to
Esto, voy
avoid death.
dead. Te
Both
dejen
the
uno de
Druid ascendancies
vida.
offer interesting and unique ways to gain modifiers that no other classes can get, so we're expecting a huge variety of build possibilities from these. Now there are unique talismans for the Druid to use as well. We won't spoil all of them, but this one was particularly cool.
Dice que
Fury
no nos van
of
a
the King
spoilear
turns your bear
todos los
form
nodos
into a
del
fire
árbol.
demon,
Que lo
converting
vayamos
most of your
descubriendo
damage to
como
fire.
siempre suelen hacer.
As a demon, you can also use Molten Crash, a jumping slam attack that leaves fishes around you.
510,
This unique also
691 de
continuously
fire
grants
damage.
glory, allowing you to use your ultimate abilities more easily. Now, of course, the Druid isn't the only thing
Amigo,
we're adding
estaba
to
rotísimo esa
040.
bota.
We still have a bunch more to show. With every new release, we create a new league with new mechanics, new pinnacle bosses, and with a new story to tell. And this time is no exception. So let's roll the trailer for the fate of the Vaal.
Se ve el tráiler, se ve el tráiler.
The
Mira el
palace
tráiler.
of Queen Atziri. It is a ruin, but in the dark,
Esto es la liga,
machines
gente.
still churn.
Esto es la liga.
The temple has many functions,
Templo.
and with it, a chance to save the Vaal.
Sabía que iba a hacer un rigor,
Big
gente.
way
Les
through
dije.
time.
Les dije.
Travel into the past, again and again.
No, 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 no. Los genios hacen eso. Los genios
Uncover
hacen
its
eso. No, no.
secrets.
Tenés que cerrar el fucking estadio,
Be
hermano.
rewarded for your sacrifice. And somewhere in the deepest chamber, my queen
Cine.
awaits. I beg of you, hear me.
Prefiero
The beast
verlo.
cannot give you what you desire.
You may have studied it, Doriani, but you do not know it like I do.
Está medio destapada.
Adores me.
Bueno. Mommy League, gente.
Come now, give unto me
Mommy
your
League.
desire. At last, fulfill my soul.
Siguen hateando, gente. Siguen hateando.
Hi, I'm Mark Roberts,
Hola.
Game Director on Path of Exile. In the Fate of the Vaal League, you will find remnants of the ancient Vaal civilization scattered throughout Rayclast. They seem to attract nearby creatures and affect them strangely. After killing them, the remnant appears to gain some amount of power, but not enough to fully activate it. It seems you will need to find 5 more of these arcane devices, and sacrifice the monsters you find there to fully activate one.
Va el beacon.
But things don't always go to plan. These devices are old, and sometimes infected by corruption.
No te
Twisted
trabes,
versions
por
of
Dios.
ancient Vaal may emerge, and sometimes even stronger foes. On fully activating one of the devices, you finally discover its true purpose.
No me deja leer. ¿Qué
A
es lo que
portal
hace?
opens and takes you deep underground to a lost temple, once the home of Atziri, Queen of the Vaal. What treasures could still be inside? I think you're gonna want to find out. In front of the entrance is a console of some kind, and on activating it, you can see a map of the temple. Atziri's personal chambers are on the far
Muy
side.
bueno.
But how could anyone get there? There are disconnected rooms, and the layout doesn't seem to make sense. And that's when you realize the purpose of the ancient devices scattered through Rayclast. The temple is powered by sacrifice, and this energy can be used to modify the very structure of the temple itself. Each time you run the temple, you will be given 6 rooms that you can place, allowing you to craft your own dungeon to explore.
Claro,
Place
vos vas
paths to link up the
construyendo
dungeon, and place
y
rooms
explorando
beside
lo
them
que
full
vas
of precious
construyendo.
loot. After you are happy with your choices, open the temple and discover the results of your efforts. Each room contains different challenges along with its rewards. On entering a room,
Cada
the
room
doors will
tiene su
slam shut
challenge
behind
con
you,
sus
and you will need to
recompensas.
face the encounter within. But choose wisely. It's important where you place the rooms to get maximum returns. For example, when placing a commander, you could just place it anywhere along an existing path, but a much better strategy is to place it next to a garrison of troops for him to command.
Dice que las rooms
With
especiales
better
las puedes poner
leadership,
donde vos
the
quieras,
garrison
pero es
will
más
level up,
beneficioso si le pones en un
making the
error
monsters
verde.
harder, but also more rewarding.
Que va a ser
Different
más
rooms have
complicado,
different
pero
requirements for leveling up.
también más
For
alto
example,
recompensa.
if you want to fully level up a smithy, you will need to supply it with golems from an adjacent golem works, and hook up a generator to the power network to supply it with power. After doing so, the golems will be powered up, making them much more dangerous. You don't need to memorize what interacts with what. When selecting a room, you will be shown the locations that will make other rooms level up, and exactly what effect it will have on the temple.
Radio el término.
After running the temple, a few of the rooms will destabilize and be removed. It will be up to you to rebuild the temple, adding 6 more rooms each time you come back, making the temple larger and larger and larger. So, that's the basic functionality of the temple, but there is a lot more. Once
Esa es la
Doriani finds
funcionalidad
out about your
básica del
travels to
templo y que hay
Lyra
mucho más,
Vaal,
dice.
he will attempt to persuade you to take on a new mission. The temple entrance contains a prototype of the time portal device. It will be able to take you back in time, but only to one specific point, right before Atziri triggered the cataclysm that destroyed the Vaal. He requests that you go back and attempt to stop Atziri to prevent the Vaal from ever being destroyed. Atziri is on the far side of the temple,
Sí, la verdad que
so
se
you
lo
will
ve
need to expand the
demasiado
temple
grande el
significantly to get to her. And even worse, her chambers can only be unlocked by a room that isn't currently accessible to you. In order to deal with that, you are going to need to visit the architect of the temple. To get to him, you will need to place path rooms. But while doing so, you will probably want to exploit some of the Vaal technology only available in the past. Once you can
Sí, si
travel
no paga
into
bien,
the
yo creo que la
past,
mayoría
a
lo
whole new
skipeará.
set of rooms are available to you, and they have some pretty insane rewards. At level 1, the corruption chamber can be used to corrupt a single item. But placing it next to a thaumaturge to run the place, and a sacrificial chamber to provide soul energy, you'll be able to level it up. And it's worth it. Because once you get the room to level 3, there are some very nice rewards to be had.
Corrupción tier 3.
In a level
Claro,
3
le tenés que
corruption
bradear
chamber, you will find this mysterious device.
a
It has a
mayor
slot to
nivel,
place an
mejor
item,
corrupción.
and it only accepts items that are already corrupted.
Como que las rooms las tenés que ir
What will happen to
bradeando.
them? Well, normally once an item is corrupted, you can't modify it any further. But this device allows you to corrupt your item a second time, adding
mira.
another enchantment. This has the capability to craft some very powerful items indeed.
Claro, no te va a dar la
But be
corrupción
warned,
de una.
the Vaal are all
Pero
about
si ya
taking
está
risks in the
corrupto,
pursuit of power.
lo podés volver a
There is a
corromper.
50%
Esto
chance
en
that
realidad
the item
está
will be
muy
destroyed.
bueno. Porque si vos ves un ítem corrupto, barato, lo puedes comprar igual y puedes volver a intentar corromperlo. En el poder bueno, si un ítem ya está corrupto,
Each
no lo puedes
room has
volver a
its own
corromper.
interesting mechanics and rewards when it levels up. Many of them contain
Está
bosses
muy
to
bueno
fight,
eso está muy bueno.
special drops,
Mirá,
and in many cases, new crafting opportunities. For example, a level 3 alchemy lab has a nasty
no
Vaal
mostraron
construct
que
to
salió de
fight,
la gema.
but if you can defeat it, you can find new corrupted soul cores. Like
mira,
Guatalixi's
tiene soul cores.
thesis,
Ojo,
which on
ojo,
boots
porque
allows you
hay
to
soul cores
sacrifice
que
your
son
life
muy
to run
caros.
faster. Or Sita Qualotl's thesis, which on gloves will revive one of your minions whenever an offering expires. Get a sacrificial chamber to level 3, and you will need to face a highborn priest of sacrifice. Defeat him to be able to further corrupt a Vaal
Qué
unique,
pesa,
modifying it in unpredictable ways. One of the mods of this unique will be removed and replaced with another random mod.
Ah, mirá. Está buenísimo eso.
For example,
Remueve un mod
this
y
soul
agrega
mantle.
otro.
It gives you an additional totem, but lowers your totem's life and curses you when they die.
Claro, pues.
By using the machine, this could result in a terrible item if you remove the good mod, but also some amazing items if you replace the
Hermano, puedes agarrar
downside.
ítems únicos que estén buenos, pero tengan
Now,
una parte
one
mala.
extra thing to mention about
Y
these
puedes,
Vaal crafting
Si
machines.
tienes suerte, sacarle
You
la parte
don't
mala
have
y
to take
agregarle
the
algo
items you want to
bueno.
craft into the
No,
temple.
amigo.
If you don't have the item you want to craft with you at the time, then clicking this button will allow you to create a currency item instead, allowing you to do the craft later or trade it if you want. Now, there are all sorts of interesting rooms you can find in the temple, but the last one I want to show you today is the Flesh
Tiene
Surgeon.
muchas cosas el templo, tiene muchas cosas.
A Vaal Flesh Surgeon can be leveled up by
Claro,
placing
con
him
razón
next
es
to a
tan grande para
high-level
que
synth flesh
puedas
lab.
hacer todas las rooms que hay, porque hay un montón, cura.
But be careful. The Flesh Surgeon has some rather unpleasant experiments in his personal lab. Afterwards, you might notice the surgery table just
Eso es
sitting
sacar
there.
un mod y meter otra.
The Vaal
Viene
are
de
great
los
at
Polvorn.
crafting items. Why not do
Eso
some
viene de los
crafting on
Polvorn.
yourself? After laying down, you'll be
mira.
asked which limb you'd like to replace. Left arm, perhaps your right leg.
Mira
Each
qué
limb
es.
can get a different set of random bonuses, so choose wisely. After getting up from the table, try out your new limb. It seems to work fine, and even perform better than your normal one. Now, there is just one thing with replacing body parts. If you die and are resurrected, your body will return to its natural state. You might need to return to the Vaal Surgeons if you want another robot arm, and maybe get a better one next time. Some rooms, like the Commander, can give you a new type of reward. Medallions that can be used to manipulate the temple in other ways.
Medallón, ¿qué hace el medallón? Mostrame el
Using a
pedazo.
Queeper Medallion will allow you to artificially boost a room, even if it doesn't meet the normal requirements to level up.
Claro, antes te pedía
And a
requerimientos. esto te
Huatalotli's
permite
Medallion
upgradearlo
will
de una.
stop rooms from destabilizing when you complete a temple, allowing you to guarantee getting a reward a second time. Great if you want to stock up on double
Puede hacer
corrupts.
que al hacer
Now,
la
with
room
all that
no
aside,
se lo quede
time to
y
face
poder
the
recibir una reward
architect,
por segunda vez.
and you will be in for a fight. Once
Nah, se
defeated, you will
practica,
find
Gabriel,
another
tranqui,
console
se
that can be
practica.
used to modify
Tampoco
the
va a ser tan
temple.
complicado.
But this one is
Parece un
special.
juego nuevo del templo.
It allows you to place new types of
Está
rooms
increíble,
with
amigo.
specific
Querían
rewards.
contenido. Acá tienen el contenido, gente.
There are rooms with specific uniques,
Ya no se pueden quejar
special
más.
runes, and
Runas,
currency.
runas. ¡Ey, esto es Betrayal!
But also a
Estos son los
few
ejos de
other more
Betrayal.
niche crafting experiments.
¡Cuidado! ¡Las cejas de Betrayal!
Like this one, that can extract the soccer balls back out of an item, at the cost of destroying it. Now,
Las cejas
something
de
really
Betrayal,
important is
culiao.
every league we release a significant amount of content for the in-game.
And
In
then-
order to make sure that the Fate of the Veil works well for late-game players, we've added many mechanics to make sure that you can scale the difficulty and rewards to match.
Ok, sigue en el cine.
Getting some rooms to level 3 adds extra mods to the entire dungeon, and these stack with each other. So in endgame, when you can get some really big temples, you can generate a challenge that can even match the strongest of characters.
Cada room tier 3 upgradea la
We
cantidad de
also
bichos
start
y
to
se
introduce
stackean
ways to
entre
store
ellas,
up
culiao.
energy for the temple,
O sea que un
allowing you
templo
to save up
bien
many
hecho va a
runs
ser
so you
una
can do them
locura,
later at
hermano.
your leisure, and not interrupt your mapping too often. Now in
Ahí se
each
escucha
league,
bien.
it's important that we have a new pinnacle boss to test your character's might.
Pinaclevos nuevo.
In the Fate of the Veil, you will get to face Adziri, while she was at the peak of her
Sí,
power.
era sabido.
One of the rewards you will gain by defeating the Architect is the ability to place the Royal Access Chamber. Once connected to your temple, you can visit it
Se
to
escucha bien el
finally
volumen,
reach
¿no?
the Queen of the Veil herself. This fight takes place at a critical moment in history, right as Adziri communes with the beast's power and takes her true corrupted form.
4 tetas
Now,
tenía
we're
este
not
que
going to
decir
show
que
you
tenía
the
3
whole
en fuego,
fight,
¿no?
but we will tempt you with one of the rewards.
Este tiene
This
4.
is Adziri's rule. This staff gives additional levels to all of your corrupted gems and lets you trade life
extra
for extra
physical
damage.
damage.
But in addition to
Bro,
that, while
está
using the
roto.
staff, mirrors of refraction will constantly appear on the battlefield. Any
Está
projectile
roto.
you fire at these will split into a nova, and they can chain from one to the other. So, that's the Fate of the Veil League. But we are also bringing the previous league, Rise of the Abyssal, into the core game, along with a few changes. Now, for those of you who haven't seen what happens when a league is over, it's important to understand that you will not be seeing abysses in every area anymore. Rise of the Abyssal is now one of the league mechanics that can show up randomly in
Okay.
endgame. If you want to specialize
ahora
in
una
running
mecánica de
abysses,
liga más.
there is now a tablet that will allow you to add them to any map you run.
Avis
You
en
can also
tabletas.
craft the tablet to add abyss-specific mods to enhance how they function. Now that Abyss is core, it also needs its own Atlas tree.
Avis en el Atlas Tree.
You can gain your first points by completing an Abyss. But there are
Nice.
more available for doing depths and killing certain bosses. And there are a bunch of different options. You might just want more monsters and bosses. But you can also make finishing an Abyss have a chance to overrun a nearby map with the Abyssal. Or make your Waystone modifiers also apply to Abyssal depths. You could specialize in the interaction with other leagues, or specialize in a specific Abyssal faction.
Mira. Como que
One
los
of the
nodes
important elements that we've
tienen
heard loud and clear is that needing to
conexión
do
con otras
Abyss crafting
mecánicas.
on Waystones is quite annoying. So, we have removed that. In fact, we have removed instilling from Waystones as well. This mechanic felt mandatory on maps because it boosted the value of all other content, but it was both annoying to do and resulted in a lot of visual clutter. Instead, we are bringing back some of that power on tablets. which you don't need to craft nearly as often, since they last for 10 maps each. Once you defeat the Arbiter of Ash, you will be able to upgrade tablets to a rare with 4 mods using regular currency.
No.
Even this isn't enough to fully bring back the power you could
Después
have
de
gotten
matar
from
al
instilling.
árbitro
So we have also
de
buffed
Ash,
the bonuses that
podemos
tablets
tener
give.
tabletas raras con
Going
4
forward,
modificadores.
we're not going to be adding any more crafting directly to Waystones outside
Druids
of
is
the
coming.
basic currency,
Druids is
because it
coming.
adds too much micromanagement. But on that note, Fate of the Vial does bring the ability to corrupt your tablets, hoping to get one of many different random outcomes.
Okay.
Now, with regard to Delirium Fog, even though you shouldn't have to have it on every map anymore, we still did want to make it less visually annoying. Delirium Fog has been toned down significantly,
Se le ve re piola
so
ese
you won't
skill,
feel like you're
culiao.
just playing in a sea of grey.
Monje login.
Another big source of problems in the endgame is the feeling of getting overwhelmed with monsters. In 031, we reduced the number of monsters in early endgame in order to help with this, but still scaled up the number of monsters to previous levels by the time you got to tier 15.
Redujeron
Well,
la cantidad de
after
monstruos
letting
en
this
tier
simmer
bajos
for a while,
y
we are still
aumentaron
getting
la
this
cantidad
kind
de
of
monstruos
feedback.
en la tier
So we are
altos.
no longer going to scale up the number of monsters you go as you get deeper into the endgame. Instead, we are scaling up the difficulty and rewards by the same amount. So to be clear, instead of increasing the number of monsters by 40%, they will instead drop 40% more items,
Claro.
grant 40% more experience,
En
and
vez de
have
aumentar,
40%
por
more life.
ejemplo, un
In
40%
addition to
más
all the
bichos,
normal scaling they get due to being
aumentaron
higher
un
level.
40% la cantidad de
This
ítems
only
que los
applies
bichos
to regular
dropean.
monsters, not bosses. We have also reduced the speed modifiers that monsters can get sometimes, which also helps a lot with this.
Sacaron ese modo que
Now,
estaban viendo ahí.
we did have a large amount of content for endgame planned for 040, but unfortunately we just didn't get time to finish it. The scope was a bit too large, and so we would need to wait until 050 for that. But rest assured, there will be a ton of upgrades for the existing leagues, as well as new pinnacle bosses, and a significant overhaul to the Atlas passive tree coming soon. Now, another problem that becomes a much bigger issue in the endgame is game performance. And we have done a lot of
Mejoraron el
work.
performance.
Primary issue
Al
is CPU
fin,
load.
gente,
And
login,
to address that,
culiao.
a lot of things have been
Mejoraron la
optimized. And we have done a lot of
optimización.
work to take
Bien, boludo.
advantage of more of your
Mira,
CPU
ese tiene como
cores.
30 FPS más, culiao.
You should see frame rates of at least 25% higher, and a lot less bad frame spikes during gameplay. It does make quite a big difference, especially on consoles. A lot more work in this area is ongoing, and you will continue to see performance improvements over the next few months.
Dice que siguen trabajando en la
Of
mejor
course,
optimización.
another important area is game balance, and we have made a lot of changes. Now, most of these we will save for the patch notes, but I'll do a quick summary of some of the numbers. As well as adding 11 new unique items, we have rebalanced dozens of others that are not currently used very often. We've also done a pass over lineage supports. 21 of them have been rebalanced, as well as adding 9 more.
20
Alongside
support
the 2
fueron
new Druid
rebalanceadas.
ascendancies, we have made balance changes to almost all the others, with some of them getting a grander rebalance, such as the Smith of Katava. Alongside the 20 plus new Druid skills, we've also rebalanced 90 other active skills across all the different
Rebalancearon
classes.
19 skills
And
más.
to top it all off,
Mira
there
que
are
ese
also
árbol.
over 250 new passive skills added to the passive tree. These changes should go a long way to increase the viability of many more skills, uniques, and overall build variety that can tackle our most challenging content.
¿Qué onda, gente? ¿Cómo andan? Yo la verdad que súper contento después de la tremenda presentación de Poidos que tuvimos. La verdad que me parece una locura para analizarla de arriba hacia abajo. Vamos a ir punto por punto, tampoco queremos hacer la opinión bastante larga, así que lo vamos a resumir lo mayor posible. Como primer punto vamos a hablar del druida, hermano. El druida se lo ve súper divertido, pero súper divertido. Una combinación de habilidades, de sinergia ideas, de tantas cosas que cuando le agarremos la mano, cuando salga una build divertida para jugar, va a ser una auténtica locura. El druida ya me lo veo venir y me lo juego porque va a ser así. Tenemos 3 tipos de transformaciones. Primero en el oso vendría a ser tanque, ganás rage, mientras más rage tenés puedes activar rampage, y mientras más rage tenías más largo va a ser el rampage. También ganás endurance charges, tenés slams, pinta como para daño físico. El oso la verdad que pinta muy bien. Después tenemos la transformación del lobo. El lobo vendría a ser una transformación dedicada a la velocidad, al daño, entrar, matar, salir. La verdad que es súper divertido. Tenemos una habilidad que marca al enemigo, otra que le saltamos, le rompemos la marca, ganamos por charge, después podemos salir. La tercera transformación, mi favorita, que la vi y me volví totalmente loco mal, el dragón, hermano. Qué bueno que tuvo eso, Julián, me volvió loco, man. No veo la hora de estar jugando druida, quiero jugar full dragón. El dragón se especializa sobre todo en daño lightning, por lo que estuvimos viendo, y como bien sabemos el PoE2 tiene un problemita ahí con el daño lightning. Todavía no me leí las notas del parche, no sé si habrán tocado algo, estoy subiendo este video con lo que vi del teaser del PoE2 sin más, así que si lo tocaron déjenmelo en los comentarios, háganmelo saber, háganme el favor. También se vio del druida que no tiene cooldown para swapear entre transformaciones, tampoco para swapear entre humano, así que vamos a tener ahí una combinación de habilidades y transformaciones que según las circunstancias nos va a convenir más una o la otra. Va a estar muy bueno, va a estar muy divertido el druida, ya se lo firmo pero desde ya, hermano. Mecánica de la liga, el templo, la verdad es un arma muy de doble filo. El templo se la jugaron un montón a hacer una mecánica tan grande, porque realmente si cuando la estamos haciendo no se siente divertida o al menos redituable, o que den ganas de hacerla para el tiempo que pareciera que va a dedicar, yo creo que por lo menos el 80% de la gente, por no decir el 100%, la vamos a estar skipeando porque demora demasiado tiempo. Así que realmente se tiene que sentir bien hacerla, tiene que ser redituable para que nos llame la atención, para que querramos hacerlo, si no, no tiene ningún tipo de sentido. Ahora, si llega a ser redituable, si llega a ser divertido de hacer, va a ser una puta locura la mecánica y va a ser buenísima. Fanático de Path of Exile, ojalá que el templo sea una linda mecánica de hacer. Hablando un poquito ya de la mecánica en sí del templo, vamos a tener que ir armando el templo como si fuese un rompecabezas, lo vamos a ir armando a gusto. Tenemos mejores y peores lugares donde ir colocando las habitaciones. Cada habitación que pongamos va a tener distintas recompensas según la habitación que hayamos elegido. Cada habitación vamos a poder subir de tier 1 a 2 a 3, a mayor tier, mayor cantidad de bichos, o sea que del tier 3 vamos a tener mucho más bichos. Y además todas las habitaciones que coloquemos cuando corramos el templo se van a complementar entre sí, es decir que si tenemos varias habitaciones tier 3 vamos a tener muchísimos más bichos si tuviéramos pocas. Esto está muy bueno porque realmente fomenta ya de entrada a querer armar un buen templo con varias rooms tier 3, ya te motiva a querer estudiar un poquito, ver bien cómo hacerlas y armar un lindo templo, porque como digo, si llega a ser redituable y armar un buen templo, tomarte el tiempo de armar un buen templo, se siente bien en el proceso, es divertido, profit, es redituable de hacerlo, va a ser una locura, va a ser una locura. Firmo ya. Hablando un poco del Atlas Tree, vimos que los nodos de Abyss ya se sumaron al Atlas Tree, eso está muy bueno, realmente va a dar mucho más contenido endgame. Ya sabemos que Abyss está muy bueno hacerlo y ahora en los mapas va a ser más divertido todavía poder elegirlo. Además se vieron por ahí algunos noditos que tenían complementos con otras mecánicas, como por ejemplo esencias, fue lo que yo vi, y también vimos nodos de maps overrun by the Abyss, que eso estuvo muy fuerte. Han cambiado la mecánica para que no tengamos que ir a craftear nuestros mapas, porque saben que a nadie le gusta, se dieron cuenta que absolutamente a nadie le gustó tener que ir a otro mapa a craftear los mapas, así que eso también lo cambiaron, gracias a Dios, por suerte. No entendí bien qué fue lo que hicieron con ese tema, pero sé que se cambió, que ya no es igual que en la 0.3. Siguiendo con el tema del endgame, ahora le dieron al fin un propósito para matar al Arbitrer of the Ash, al árbitro, porque antes lo matabas y ya está. No te dropeaba nada, no ganabas nada. Tenías que jugar un montón para conseguir matarlo, y una vez que lo matabas era como si nada. Ahora por lo menos al matarlo vamos a desbloquear las tabletas raras, que en mi opinión las tabletas raras van a estar rotas, van a estar buenas, nos van a motivar a hacer buenas tabletas raras, que yo creo que de ahí, de la mano de eso, va a venir el juicing. Las tabletas raras también se van a poder corromper, así que va a estar bueno eso yo tengo fe de que va a estar bueno. Muchachos, eso fue un resumen súper por arriba de lo que se viene en la 0.4. Obviamente, conociendo a GGG, hay un montón de cosas que no nos contaron y queda por descubrir de nuestra parte. En estos días vamos a terminar la serie que estamos haciendo un PoE 1 de 0 a tier 17, ya la tenemos bastante cocinada la build, y después vamos a empezar a traer videos PoE 2 de la 0.4. les voy a traer videos de builds starter que pueden seguir. Yo particularmente voy a ir con el druida, quiero ir a ensuciarme un poco, a investigar, a cocinar sobre la marcha, que me divierte un montón, me encanta. Así que bueno, déjenme en los comentarios cuál es su opinión acerca de la 0.4, qué piensan, sus sensaciones, sus sentimientos, si lo van a jugar, si no lo van a jugar, si se quedan en PoE 1, coméntenme todo lo que quieran, que me interesa saberlo, quiero saber cuál es el feedback de ustedes. Y sin mucho más, muchachos, les mando un abrazo gigante a todos, que tengan un hermoso, maravilloso día y nos vemos en la apertura del PoE 2 para disfrutar de este juegazo. Saludos gente, abrazo grande, chau chau.